There are lots of things that I respect about her. I think that she knows how to work the business like nobody I've ever seen before. And there's something about her that I don't like. She's mean. I don't like that. And I remember having her over to my house a couple of times because Sean and I were friends. And she just was so rude to everybody. It seems to me that she's...
Cher has never been one to bite her tongue. And over the decades, her sharp honesty has created a trail of unforgettable music feuds. From backstage snubs to on-air jabs, she's clashed with some of the biggest names in the industry. These weren't fleeting misunderstandings. Some rivalries lasted years, fueled by competition, pride, and raw personality. And while the tabloids only scratched the surface, the real stories reveal much more than gossip.
She's a major, major star, and she's not really a great, great singer. She's not really a great, great actress, but she's but she's one of the biggest stars in the world, so...
Today, we're diving deep into the singers who found themselves on the wrong side of Cher's approval. And trust me, some of these names will shock you. Number 1. Madonna. It's hard to imagine two bigger forces in pop music sharing the same era than Cher and Madonna. One defined the 1960s and 70s, surviving every shift in the industry. The other reinvented the pop star template in the 80s and 90s. On paper, they could have been allies, the seasoned veteran and the fearless disruptor. In reality, their relationship was a cocktail of admiration, irritation, and the occasional public dagger. The tension bubbled into the open in 1991 when Cher appeared on Primetime Live. Asked about Madonna, she smirked and famously said, "She's not very talented." That line landed like a thunderclap in an era when pop divas kept their criticisms veiled. Cher doubled down, accusing Madonna of being mean and a spoiled brat. It wasn't a random outburst. Industry insiders say Cher had grown weary of the media's obsession with Madonna's every move, which often overshadowed her own projects in the late 80s. Their rivalry played out indirectly, through interviews and thinly veiled shade. Madonna, master of media chess, rarely took direct shots back, but her subtle digs, such as dismissing older artists clinging to the limelight, didn't go unnoticed by Cher's camp. Behind the scenes, PR teams tried to keep them apart at award shows. The root of their conflict wasn't just personality, it was territory. Both women fought for dominance over the same media cycles, music award stages, and even philanthropic event headlines. Each was a cultural icon in her own right, and sharing that throne didn't come naturally. And yet, in moments, there was mutual respect. Cher has acknowledged Madonna's business acumen and relentless work ethic, even while questioning her artistry. Madonna, in turn, called Cher an original during a radio interview, though the compliment came wrapped in the suggestion that the older star was sometimes too honest for her own good. Fans still debate whether the feud was genuine animosity or media-fueled theater. The truth is probably somewhere in between. But one thing is certain, when Cher made that not very talented comment, it stuck. In the entertainment industry, a single sharp quote can echo louder than a decade of compliments. Number 2. Elton John. It's hard to imagine two bigger personalities sharing a room than Cher and Elton John. Both are flamboyant, fiercely opinionated, and used to commanding the spotlight. Yet, while many fans assumed they were bound for an iconic friendship, reality turned out to be far more complicated. Their occasional collaborations and public appearances were peppered with awkward moments, the kind of tension that feels just a little too real to be playful. The earliest rumblings of trouble came in the mid-1990s, when Cher reportedly took issue with Elton's candid remarks about other celebrities during interviews. While Elton has always been unapologetically outspoken, his comments about performers who phone it in on stage struck a nerve. Around the same time, Cher, known for her elaborate shows, was rumored to have interpreted some of his jabs as indirect shots at her own performances. The tension flared again during an award show after-party in the early 2000s. Witnesses claimed Elton made a pointed remark about some people hiding behind backing tracks, a not-so-subtle dig in an industry where lip-syncing accusations can tarnish reputations overnight. Cher, never one to shy away from defending herself, allegedly responded with an icy quip about some people hiding behind oversized glasses. Both laughed in the moment, but insiders say the exchange was anything but friendly. What's fascinating is that both Cher and Elton have built careers on a shared philosophy: go big or go home. Yet, when two icons share the same space, their similarities can feel less like kinship and more like competition. For Cher, Elton's biting humor may have crossed the line from charming to condescending. For Elton, Cher's theatricality and unapologetic glamour may have seemed like an unnecessary show of excess. In the entertainment world, these subtle resentments can simmer for years, even without a major blow-up. Over time, the feud became less about direct insults and more about a mutual cooling off. By the 2010s, they were appearing together far less frequently, and when they did, the interactions seemed carefully managed, all smiles for the cameras, but none of the warmth fans might expect from two legends who'd walked parallel paths for decades. Still, their story offers an important takeaway. In show business, the line between friendly ribbing and personal offense is razor-thin. For artists with decades of achievements, a single perceived slight can become a defining chapter in a relationship. And in Cher's world, where every performance is a statement and every comment is remembered, Elton's sharp tongue may have cut a little too deep. Number 3. Barbra Streisand. Barbra Streisand and Cher are two of the most celebrated vocalists in music history. Women who rewrote the rules for what female performers could achieve. But beneath the Grammy wins and standing ovations, there was a coolness between them that even decades in the industry never seemed to melt. Industry insiders have whispered for years about their complicated dynamic, one that started as mutual admiration but eventually veered into quiet rivalry. It began in the 70s, when Cher was making her mark on television and chart-topping singles, while Barbra dominated Broadway-inspired ballads and blockbuster films. They weren't competing directly in style, but they were competing for the same cultural space, the position of the woman in entertainment. And in the media's eyes, there could only be one. That subtle pressure brewed a tension neither woman seemed willing to address openly. According to entertainment columnists at the time, the first hints of frost came during an award season dinner in the late 80s. Cher reportedly arrived at a table already occupied by Streisand and a group of producers, only to be met with polite, but brief, small talk. No one called it an insult, but in the hypersensitive world of celebrity hierarchy, the moment became fodder for gossip pages. Cher looked like she wanted to be anywhere else, one guest later recalled. Years later, the coolness surfaced again in interviews. While promoting a film, Cher made a passing comment about not understanding why certain singers overcomplicate beautiful melodies. Fans instantly speculated she was referring to Streisand's famously ornate arrangements. Barbra, for her part, brushed off the chatter but later gave an interview in which she praised vocalists who focus on emotional storytelling rather than spectacle. The quotes weren't direct shots, but to industry watchers, they were as good as underlined. The tension wasn't explosive, no screaming matches, no Twitter wars, but it was persistent. What made it fascinating was how it revealed a quiet truth about celebrity. Sometimes, it's not about what's said in public, but what's left unsaid. Theirs was a rivalry of small gestures, the way they avoided each other at gala events, the strategic seating charts at award shows, and the lack of any meaningful collaboration despite decades in overlapping circles. The takeaway here is simple but telling. Respect doesn't always equal friendship. Cher and Barbra could recognize each other's talent while still keeping a careful distance. In a world where every smile is analyzed, they chose not to fake camaraderie. And perhaps that's the most authentic thing either of them ever did in their relationship. In the end, the Cher-Streisand tension wasn't about open hostility. It was about two icons who didn't need each other and knew it. That's a rare thing in an industry obsessed with alliances. Number 4. Tina Turner. Imagine two powerhouse women, both with voices that could cut through steel and stage presence that could electrify an arena, trying to share the same spotlight. It sounds like a dream collaboration, right? For a moment, it nearly happened. In the late 80s, during planning for a high-profile charity concert, Cher and Tina Turner were set to appear on the same bill. The hype was immense, but behind the scenes, a much different story was unfolding. The trouble started with the set list. Organizers wanted the two icons to perform together for the grand finale, but choosing the right song became a tug of war. Tina's camp reportedly pushed for something upbeat and rock-driven, her signature style, while Cher's team leaned toward a powerful ballad that showcased vocal control. Both made sense, but neither was willing to budge. And with rehearsals looming, tension began to simmer. Then came the whispers. A production assistant claimed Cher felt Tina was trying to dominate the event by positioning herself as the closing act. On the flip side, Tina's friends suggested Cher was being overly controlling about the creative direction. Whether these accounts were exaggerated or not, the mood soured fast. By the week of the show, the joint number was scrapped entirely. Each performed separately, and the once-anticipated collaboration evaporated before it ever hit the stage. For fans, it was a baffling missed opportunity. Imagine the sheer force of Proud Mary blended with If I Could Turn Back Time. Instead, audiences got two stellar but isolated performances. The press, of course, noticed. Headlines hinted at diva drama. Neither Cher nor Tina directly confirmed the feud, but they didn't exactly squash it either. The lack of public reconciliation only fueled speculation for years afterward. What's fascinating here is how this wasn't about personal dislike in the traditional sense. By most accounts, Cher and Tina respected each other's talent immensely. The friction came from a deeper truth in the entertainment business. When two alpha performers share a stage, even the smallest creative disagreement can feel like a battle for survival. Both women had fought for every inch of their careers. Neither was about to compromise their artistry for optics. In music, as in life, collaboration is a delicate dance. It's not just about aligning talent. It's about aligning egos, timing, and vision. When those don't match, even the most promising partnerships can collapse under their own weight. For fans, it's a reminder that behind the glitter of show business lies a maze of negotiations, personalities, and pride. And sometimes, the best performances we never see are the ones that teach us the most about what could have been. Small disagreements can kill big dreams. That's the game. Number 5. Diana Ross. It started with something so small, you'd think it couldn't possibly snowball into a decades-long cold front. But when Cher and Diana Ross crossed paths during an award season in the early 80s, a seemingly minor seating arrangement became the spark that would keep them at opposite ends of the industry for years. According to multiple industry insiders, Cher arrived expecting to be seated front and center for maximum camera exposure, only to discover that the prime seat had been given to Diana. The two exchanged polite smiles, but witnesses say the tension in the air was almost theatrical. For Cher, who had built her career on commanding attention, it wasn't just about a chair. It was about respect. And Diana, well, she was no stranger to controlling the spotlight, having navigated years as the glamorous, unapologetic face of the Supremes and later as a solo powerhouse. To Ross, the moment might have been business as usual. To Cher, it was a public statement, one that she would quietly remember. The tension simmered over the years. Industry events would see them exchange the occasional nod, but you'd never catch them chatting in the same circle. In interviews, Cher avoided mentioning Diana altogether, a silence that spoke louder than any criticism. Meanwhile, Ross maintained her regal distance, her own interviews giving no hint of the frostiness, though friends of both singers claimed each was well aware of the other's presence whenever their paths crossed. Things didn't improve when a charity gala in the early 90s put them back in the same room. Rumor has it Cher was initially booked to close the event with a high-energy performance, only for the organizers to suddenly swap her slot with Diana, giving Ross the headline moment. Cher performed, but those close to her said she was visibly irritated backstage. The clash wasn't just about ego. It was about two women who had fought tooth and nail in male-dominated music and entertainment industries, each carving out a distinct brand. Cher embodied reinvention and bold defiance. Diana personified elegance and controlled glamour. Both commanded loyalty from fans, and both had reputations for running their careers with laser precision. The overlap in their lanes meant that any perceived slight, no matter how minor, became fuel for an unspoken rivalry. Over the decades, fans speculated about what might have happened if the two had collaborated. A duet could have been an unforgettable powerhouse moment, blending Cher's husky strength with Diana's silky precision. But it never came to pass. Instead, their legacy exists in parallel, occasionally intersecting at award shows, but never truly merging. Number 6. Patti LaBelle. It's one thing to have a quiet rivalry. It's another when that rivalry unfolds under the neon lights of Las Vegas. Cher and Patti LaBelle, two powerhouse voices with careers spanning decades, found themselves on a collision course in the city that thrives on spectacle. Both women were carving out their own residencies, both targeting the same demographic of high-paying, nostalgia-loving fans, and both fiercely protective of their reputations as unmatched live performers. When your brand is built on being the show to see, sharing the same glittering zip code can feel like sharing a stage you never agreed to. Industry insiders whispered about the tension. Vegas is a small town disguised as a big one, and word travels fast when a casino executive compares ticket sales or hints that one show has more energy than the other. Cher, known for her grandiose costumes, high-tech stage effects, and razor-sharp wit, reportedly felt the pressure when LaBelle's camp started marketing her show as the true soul of Vegas. For someone as image-conscious as Cher, the implication stung. Patti, on the other hand, was no stranger to defending her artistic turf. Her live vocals and magnetic stage presence had been her calling card for decades, and she wasn't about to let anyone outshine her. The tension allegedly reached its peak during a high-profile Vegas charity gala. Both stars were in attendance, and when it came time for impromptu performances, the event organizers made the questionable choice to let Patti close the night. In showbiz hierarchy, that's more than just scheduling. It's a crown placement. Sources claimed Cher was less than thrilled, especially after Patti brought down the house with a searing rendition of Lady Marmalade that had the crowd on its feet. Cher's friends insist she clapped and smiled, but the gossip mill swears the applause was measured. What's fascinating is that this wasn't a tabloid-driven celebrity spat fueled by Twitter jabs or headline-hunting interviews. It was a quiet battle for prestige, fought in ticket sales, word-of-mouth buzz, and the subtle one-upmanship only veteran performers understand. The rivalry never boiled over into public insults, but in Vegas, where egos are as bright as the marquees, the absence of open hostility doesn't mean there's no competition. In the end, both women maintained their legendary status, and perhaps time has softened whatever frost lingered between them. Still, their parallel Vegas runs remain a reminder of a truth in the entertainment business. Proximity breeds comparison, and comparison breeds competition. Cher's career proves that even legends don't live in harmony with everyone. Some bridges burned, others still smolder, but each rivalry shaped her unapologetic legacy. If you thought this list was fiery, wait until you see the band she refused to share a stage with. That story is next.